This is Cybert signing into Tib Dawn Remastered for some tournament games and some MCV moves right at the start. As the blue Nod player in the north, this is Rashnagar 206, and in the south, I think we've seen this guy before playing as the yellow GDI. This is campaign player, aka Khyira. Apparently that is their real name. I will try not to say a bunch of Red Alert stuff whenever I cast Red Alert or Tib Dawn Remastered. I tend to mix them up, like thinking Grenadiers are running around in Red Alert. We do have some Grenadiers and some Flamers trading places on the north and the south of the map. Both of these guys moving their MCVs towards the middle, and it looks like it's going to be Hand of Nod versus Barracks right from the start. Rashnagar and campaign player going for, well, actually it's going to be a attack helicopter and then a forward refinery right onto the front lines. So GDI versus Nod, and you cannot blame this one for being, oh, he's going for the power plant directly. He's not going to get it. The attack helicopter going to be able to clean this up, shut down that attack. But you can't blame this one for being just bike buggy spam versus tank spam or something like that. Right from the beginning. The map is Green Acres, by the way. Not that these will remain Green Acres for very much longer. Oh, that attack helicopter plus flamethrower combo is actually really powerful if you control it right. Power plant still tanking a bit of damage. As I mentioned, these are tournament games. We're going to be taking a look at 3 different tournament games that were recommended. And hopefully we'll get to see a little variety of play. For now, 3 refineries finally up and running. 4 refineries, actually, for Khyira. And on the Nod side of the map, well, we do finally have our airstrip, but only 2 refineries up and running because that attack helicopter has been doing so much work for Rashnagar. And, well, Grenadiers closing in. This is really close spawns with the infantry coming in here. One buggy is here to try and hold off the Grenadiers, and the attack helicopter continuing to make run after run after run, but the Grenadiers once again trying to cut off the base creep, trying to isolate this barracks, and actually now there's a guard tower in place, so that may be the end of that barracks being particularly effective. Although with 6 buggies right nearby and the attack helicopter as well, he may just jump on this GDI base crawl and shut it down. Rashnagar, he's got a couple of units spread out towards the edges of the map, but I don't know that he's going to need that scouting intel. The Hand of Nod getting targeted down. The buggies doing a bit of trading, doing a bit of damage, and there's going to be a barracks pushing this back. He accidentally throws a grenade at his own barracks for just a moment there. The power plant getting shut down. The Grenadiers will not be stopped. The buggies going to run in and go for the trade here. Buggies against Grenadiers. The Grenadiers splitting their fire, but it doesn't matter. There's just too many Grenadiers. The guard tower being added on. The MCV gets sniped, being blocked by the trees on the left side. Didn't even matter because Khyira comes from the south. And it looks like he's going to be able to take the game? Rashnagar is still in this match, so he's not giving up, despite the fact that he is being pressed directly. Now there's an Orca attack pad right next to his base. Flame tank steps forward. 2 flame tanks, actually. Maybe he'll be able to get a bit of value with them, but taking out 1 guard tower isn't quite enough to stop the pressure from campaign player. Campaign player is out of cash, so this can't be kept up forever. The economy being a little bit slow. Meanwhile, Rashnagar still has a 1.8k in the bank. And the flame tank coming in. Is he actually going to be able to get this forward attack helipad? Shut down the Orca refueling on the front line. It looks like there is another one back in the main base. 2 guard towers will not be stopped. Rashnagar, you have to give it to him. In the face of almost certain doom, he is continuing to fight and actually continuing to, do a bit of damage, trying to strike back. Back when Orcas could attack air, as this attack helicopter trying to cycle out against that Orca and do a bit of damage to the GDI side of the map, and suddenly Khyira's advance has been cut somewhat short. The Orca going to do some damage against these flame tanks as they make their way south, but the barracks production slowing down and no war factory to produce vehicles to stop the flame tanks. Couple of Grenadiers trying to sneak past the defenses of Rashnagar, and Rashnagar now going to be going for the refinery. Orcas targeting down those flame tanks, and Grenadiers, once they get on top of the flame tanks, can start targeting them down, but they actually do pretty terrible DPS versus the flame tanks. Buggies, or bikes now coming in for Rashnagar, and he's going to be able to do some damage against the Harvesters and the Orcas, targeting them down as they're refueling on the deck and forcing them away. Khyira getting inches away from victory, but unable to seal the deal with no MCV, with hardly any economy, with hardly any production. Rashnagar is making his stand, is shooting his shot to try and make a comeback happen in this game and keep his tournament hopes alive, perhaps. More Grenadiers pressing in. It looks like it was an MCV cell on the south side, as Khyira now has an engineer up near the front. Attack helicopter continuing to do damage, but now with the attack helicopter down, these bikes are going to have a real hard time stopping this. But no, another flame tank comes from the north, and Rashnagar isn't necessarily going to have enough forces to split against both of these groups of infantry. The Harvester perhaps going for a kill there. Some of the infantry running through Tiberium, splitting themselves up normally, and actually a flame tank spawning in and getting the crush on a couple of those Grenadiers. Flame tank defense, not something you see very often. Flame tanks defending buildings rather than... Ooh, is he going to kill his own infantry, sending them into the Tiberium field? Bit of a problem there for Khyira, but the last power plant is almost going to go down. It does survive for a moment longer. The Orca targeting down those flame tanks, and the flame tanks being so tanky in this game. Has Rashnagar given up at this point? It took him a really long time to actually target down that Grenadier, doing extra damage to that refinery. Infantry maybe getting cleaned up there somewhat inadvertently. Flame tank and a couple of bikes making their way into Khyira's base. Orca's going to try and jump on the flame tank. Flame tank going for the power plant, trying to slow the production. But is it actually going to be enough? Because killing one power plant isn't going to stop all of these units that are already out on the map. Khyira losing a barracks. Can they close it out? There's just 2 buildings left, 1 refinery with, 10% health, and an airstrip. Not much economy for Rashnagar. 2 buggies defending that Harvester up north. The bike gets eliminated once again by the Grenadiers, and the flame tank will get targeted down. The Orca finally killing off that flame tank. Not something we expect to see coming from a Kane's Wrath Tibor's kind of perspective, as Orca's taking a long time to kill vehicles. All right, refinery is gone. The GG gets called, and Khyira finally takes the win. Something that I thought was going to happen, 4 or 5 minutes ago. And that's our first game in this set of tournament matches. And that takes us to the map Heavy Metal for another GDI versus Nod. This time as the yellow Nod. Mixing it up, this is Khyira. And in the south, also moving their MCV at the start of the match as the red GDI. This is CriticalMeds. I don't know why CriticalMeds' name doesn't show up on the display, but it is CriticalMeds over there. And another GDI versus Nod. Once again, Khyira switching from GDI to Nod. A lot of Grenadiers and Orcas, no War Factory at all from the last GDI player, so we'll have to see how CriticalMeds chooses to mix things up. Big group of Grenadiers being sent out at first. Couple of Flamers going for the Scout as well for Khyira. And it looks like Grenadiers and Flamethrowers going to be kind of trading places. Khyira with a nice spread of infantry going for the Scout. Grenadiers getting clumped up. We'll see if that ends up being a bad thing or not. A little bit of a spread out there at the end. And an attack helicopter coming in right into the helicopter there for Khyira, a.k.a. Campaign Player. And that's definitely a good move in this case with so many Grenadiers out on the map. By the way, 3 refineries and only barracks. So I guess this is just how GDI plays. I feel like last time I watched some Tiberian Dawn Remastered, there was more vehicles. It's just a base crawl. A base crawl up to the north from CriticalMeds. And is he going to drop? Yeah, he drops a barracks. This is almost beat for beat the same thing that Khyira was doing in the last match that we saw. And, well, the attack helicopter long before the airstrip. We may still see an airstrip as Bike Buggy is pretty good regardless. But maybe it'll just be buggies. I don't know how many bikes will actually be produced by Khyira in this case. Airstrip does get deployed and straight into the buggies as a second hand of Nod gets added on. Attack helicopters are not under threat because the attack helicopter just killed so many grenadiers from CriticalMeds all grouped up together. Although this refinery in the south getting targeted down, CriticalMeds gets the kill, taking out one of those Tiberium harvesting locations. We'll see if it ends up playing a big role. A power plant going down in the north, and these grenadiers starting to overwhelm. Khyira losing to the same build that we saw him display in the last game. Artillery is out on the map, though, for Khyira. A little bit of a difference there as the attack helicopter gets sniped, and the artillery trying to fire some shots. As slow as they are, if they get the clumped up infantry, they can be effective. MCV sold off, power plant gets eliminated, and it looks like CriticalMeds may have struck some critical damage. Now, of course, the MCV cell doesn't necessarily mean the end of the game. We still have barracks, we still have refineries, we still have airstrip as well. Although if this refinery gets targeted down, there will only be one left, which could cause some real problems for the economy of Khyira. Refinery so close to going down. Buggy's trying to hold the line, but even with the flamer, it's not enough as the refinery gets targeted down, and the last refinery getting targeted. And this is going to be it for Khyira. It's do or die. Hold the refinery or your economy evaporates. And that will do it. The refinery goes down. Khyira has limited resources for the rest of the game. What you see is sort of what you get. Could sell off some buildings. I don't know if you need two hands of Nod if you don't have any income. Buggies continuing to be produced. Power plant might as well sell it off, yeah. Too late now as it gets targeted down. He does get the sell-off, though. Gets an extra couple of riflemen out onto the map. Sells everything but the airstrip. Probably the best call there, as campaign player is going to have to try and make something out of nothing here. It's all grenadiers. No Orca. No Orca, no War Factory. So these grenadiers are the only thing to hold the line, and the buggies are just going to go for it. I mean, at the very least, they have to try something. You're still in this game. Is he trying to block the refinery with his own harvester? He's going for the crush as Khyira trying to make a stand with no economy, no fallback plan. This is it. He's striking the refinery. He's trying to clean up the economy of CriticalMeds, trying to shut down any additional production, but it's all grenadiers. And the buggies can actually kind of outrun the grenadiers. The micro is going to be the thing that saves Khyira here. If he's able to mount some kind of comeback, CriticalMeds might actually just have to initiate a base trade because these grenadier exchanges with the buggies are not going well. The buggies take a really long time to kill buildings. So CriticalMeds may be able to just run to the other side of the map with what limited grenadiers are out on the field and just go for that airstrip, go for the kill right out of the gate. Refinery's getting blocked by the harvester, and the other harvester is not going to have anywhere to refine soon enough. Barracks building a big group of grenadiers. The buggy's going to cycle down to the south side. The harvester gets sniped there, opening up the second refinery to be utilized a little bit more effectively. Buggies just keeping out of range of those grenadiers. The micro being the thing that will win Khyira this game, it seems. CriticalMeds, I think fighting these buggies might be a mistake. I mean, at this point, it's almost too late, but there's still more buildings on the side of CriticalMeds. Oh my gosh, he's just drawing this out, and these grenadiers, if they clump up, that's where Khyira can actually get some real damage. CriticalMeds almost able to clean. One buggy goes down. Two buggies go down. There's only 3 buggies remain, and it looks like CriticalMeds may have turned the tide. He just barely tipped the scales. If he can get one more buggy, then it'll be low health or no health for the rest of the game. CriticalMeds not wanting to leave his buildings undefended. He's going to be able to do it. He's going to be able to take down these buggies. One buggy left, and that is it. Khyira takes the loss as CriticalMeds defends with only grenadiers back at home. Those buggies were not enough. And we have one more game to jump into. And that takes us back to Green Acres for another GDI versus Nod. Once again in the north, playing as the blue, this is Rashnagar. And in the south, playing as the orange, this is Parappa, our GDI player. Although Rashnagar was playing our Nod last time, so he didn't change factions. It's all the same. Looks like both of these guys going for the defensive MCV position. Refinery going to kind of block on the right side. Is it going to be all barracks, all grenadiers, right into the attack helicopter for Rashnagar? So that's been a consistent theme for our Nod players for a long time now. Attack helicopter trying to thin out these grenadiers. Flamethrowers also doing a good job of thinning out the grenadiers. Parappa is going to try and sneak some forces by the defense of Rashnagar, but it's not quite working out as he would intend. Grenadiers getting cleaned up. All Grenadiers all day. And that's actually an MCV cell, so this is the commitment. Even gets a Tib silo as well, just to make sure that he's got the cash. And, well, so that he got a place to keep the cash. But Rashnagar just has to defend against Grenadiers until the day he dies. And Parappa says, Grenadiers are the only thing I need. Harvester being brought off the line, trying to absorb some of these shots. Grenadiers going for the target, but also the Engineer does go down. The MCV is still around for Rashnagar, so he can rebuild that airfield. He can rebuild that helicopter pad if he has the cash, which he does not. Grenadiers storming up from the south. Just mass Grenadier. They're all clumped together, but it almost doesn't matter. There's enough spread out that it doesn't affect their numbers, and they're continuing to push in. There's just nothing left. Parappa, just with pure Grenadier, is going to target down the MCV, going to force that to be sold off. Power plant going to, oh, he gets out an airstrip just in time. That's what Rashnagar was trying to keep things around for. Refinery in the barracks, what is he going to choose to sell off now that everything is precious with no MCV? So many Grenadiers being activated on the south side of the map. One buggy doesn't seem like nearly enough against all these Grenadiers, but let's see how he's able to do. Rashnagar has so many Grenadiers to fight up against. This is a big clump of Grenadiers, a couple of them low on health. Rashnagar going to try and pick off these Grenadiers one at a time, hoping that their splash damage will chain a critical reaction. Something will cause a critical chain reaction of explosions and thin out the herd. The Harvester going for the crush, absorbing a good number of shots, buying some time for these buggies to get the damage out, but there's only one buggy left. The Grenadiers standing strong, and Parappa with more reinforcements coming up from the south, targeting refineries, targeting harvesters, but the airstrip being the real target for Parappa. 2 Grenadiers in the south, targeting down that refinery. 3 buggies are now out. It's all about the unit control. It's all about just dodging those shots, which is close to impossible to dodge perfectly. 3 buggies, 2 harvesters, one of them going for the crush. Grenadiers are starting to kind of thin out. More reinforcements coming down, but the reinforcements aren't coming fast and thick like they once were. They're thinning out a little bit. One refinery gets targeted down. The Harvester going for the crush. The buggies pushing this back. Can Rashnagar do it against what has become the GDI menace of only building Grenadiers and winning games with them? Can our Nod players stand tall? It feels like not long ago people were talking about how Nod was unbeatable because Bike Buggy was just some kind of perfect unit combination. And in this case, Grenadiers are the perfect unit combination. Attack helicopters can't stop them. Buggies can't stop them. Harvesters can't stop them. Harvester, the most deadly of all units in Tib Dawn Remastered. But Rashnagar may have actually done it. He still has to kill all of these buildings, which is going to take 100 years with just buggies. It takes so long to target down buildings. But Rashnagar perhaps has the... Oh, is Parappa just trying to initiate a base trade? And Roshnagor, I feel like, has the best shot of a Nod player at taking one of these games, as the mass GDI, or the GDI mass Grenadier strat is just so good, apparently. Roshnagor has to play both offense and defense at the same time. I guess he could leave the weakened buggy to attack the refinery. There's actually the sell-off of the refinery, and it's just going to be just a straight bum rush down the middle. Parappa turns around to engage, and that's where the Grenadiers will die. They're trying to close in on the refinery, close in on the airstrip, and instead they're trading out versus the buggies. With the refinery still here, buggies are coming out at a regular rate, and the cash inflow is enough that there's still a good bank for Roshnagor, so he's constantly producing buggies, and now he comes away with another battle win. The war is not over, but it is getting closer to a Nod victory for the first time in these 3 games. Buggies will reign supreme. No bikes, no flame tanks, just buggies. Even the attack helicopter got overwhelmed and destroyed. 2 barracks, but no income, no production for Parappa. Refineries take so long to refine that Tiberium that having the 2 harvesters is actually kind of slow with just the 1 refinery. Buggies keeping some of the Grenadiers down. Other buggies targeting down the refinery. And it looks like that is going to be it. Parappa calls the GG, throws in the towel, and that will do it for this game. For these 3 replays, again, a big thanks to Aezwozere for sending in these replays. They were definitely different from the last Tib Dawn matches I have seen. Hoping to get some Tib Dawn team games, which would be pretty fun to see. But anyways, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this foray into Tib Dawn Remastered. And this is Cybert, signing out.